Through the landscape of present-day Iran, time has wrought its changes. And people now travel the Silk Road by bus, which is not to say that it has lost any of its magic. In times past, people used other means of transport to travel this legendary road. Memories of those days are still fresh.
اینا اتون به حضرت که ما از اون کوهیزا می آوردیم. از اون کوهیزا می آوردیم. اول غروب قطارا رو بار میکردیم. شب افسر بالای دوش ما یواش یواش می آمدیم تا وقتی مرسیدیم اینجا. بارا رو خالی میکردیم. پدر بزرگ ما اینا رو میگفتن. اون موقع ماشین نبوده که. اینجا خیلی آمد رفت میشه. حالا دیگه آمد رفت زیاده. برای اینکه این جاده شده. جاده خط اسفالت شده.
The road in question is the very one taken by Marco Polo, the Venetian merchant who in 1272 set off from Italy to discover China. For a long time superseded by sea routes, the ancient road seems to be coming into its own once more. Although nowadays people travel it by bus, motorized travel has replaced camels and horses. Ali is one of its most frequent travelers. His old bus is known all over the north of the country. He transports both his passengers and their stories. They are as varied as the landscapes that they cross. Our journey begins in Tehran, the capital. From there, the bus climbs 2,000 meters into the mountains which dominate the north, then back down again onto the plain which runs along the Caspian Sea. Finally, between forest and steppe, the bus and its passengers reach Gorgan, the capital of Golestan, our destination. We will travel 500 kilometers, taking 12 hours from city to city, a 12-hour excursion into ancient Persia, as we travel the roads of modern-day Iran. When Marco Polo reached Tehran, he discovered a vibrant trading town. At the crossroads between the Middle East and Asia, it was an affluent hub of commerce. Persia was dependent on the Mongol Empire of the Great Khans, an empire which stretched from the China Sea to the Adriatic. The Mongol conquests had opened up China to merchants from Italy, thus reviving trade between the East and a renascent Europe. The bazaar at Tehran became one of the centers of this international trade. For as long as it has existed, Tehran has been divided into 12 districts, or mahalla. Each neighborhood is run by an elder who decides its policies and laws. In 1915, the city became a metropolis. Of the 67 million people who live in Iran, 13 million have their home in Tehran. Iran has been Muslim since the 8th century, but early on it followed its own path, favoring the Shiite tendency, which placed greater importance on the Quran and its guardians, the clergy and mullah, the very ones who came to power after the revolution of 1979. Every Friday morning, during prayers at the University of Tehran, thousands of the faithful gather to hear sermons by the Ayatollahs.
من علی اکبرنژاد هستم، راننده اتوبوس. در حضورتون نزدیک 40-42 سال سنم میذاره. 16 سال راننده اتوبوس هستم و تو جاده ها کار میکنم. من نزدیک 14 سال ازدواج کردم با همسرم و به قول معروف 2 تا بچه داریم، یه پسر و یه دختر. کارم جوریه که شب و روز تو جاده هم اکثر بیشتر وقتی که به قول معروف بخواد در کنار همسر و بچه هم باشم نیستم تو جاده با همکارامم یا مسافرها سر کله میزنیم.
سخت است چی بکنم زندگی مجبورم همیشه یه زن جاده باید تو جاده باید
دیگه یه چیز طبیعیه دیگه خانم‌ها همیشه نگران هستن واسه همه چی تا کسی زنگ میزنه مسافر تلفن میزنه واسه جا نگهدن کی بود چی بود چیکار داشت فلان زن همه اخلاقشون همینه دیگه یه خانمی بخواد با من صحبت بکنه حتی بارا چطور تو ماشین نشسته یه خانم بی منظور با من صحبت کرده چیزی درخواست کرده خب این غریزه جنس خود زناست دیگه نساساتت دارن خانم با تو چیکار داشت واسه چیش کرد تو حتما به خاطر اینا داری میری سرویس هزار مسئله.
Iranians are superstitious. Every morning, Ali performs the same ritual, a zakat.
مرد مسلمان هر روزش اول با صدقه شروع میکنه به نام خدا و صدقه دادن چی؟ به قول من بیماران اینجا نوشته روش دیگه مثل بیماران و صدقه رفع بلاست حادثه‌ای تصادفی بلا دور میشه
Shapur is Ali's assistant. Every morning they meet at 7 o'clock. The two men have known each other for years. 2 years ago, they decided to buy this old bus. With money they had saved for several years, the equivalent of a year's salary, the two men became joint owners of this ageless vehicle. It is their little business. On a similar principle to that governing taxis, Ali and Shapur had to buy a license and become affiliated to a transport company.
اما از همه به نام خدا شروع به کار میکنیم میایم ترمینال بریم مثلا ما مسافر بلیط فروختن یا نه بعد کدوم مسیر باید بریم سوال میکنیم از دفتر ترمینال به کدوم سمت بریم تهران بریم مشهد بریم رشت بریم شهرهای مختلف هر جا که مسافر بیشتر باشه اون مسیر ادامه حرکت.
It was an audacious move by the two men, competing against well-established companies and their sturdy, reliable, modern buses. The departure point is the bus terminal. It's a symbolic spot at the crossroads of religions and civilizations, with the Middle East to the west and Asia to the east. Iranians, Turkmen, Afghans and Turks rub shoulders here. Nearly 500 buses per day setting off from the terminal to every part of the country. Ali and Shapur can't park their bus next to the major companies. The spaces are expensive and beyond their means. The passengers have to walk before they can board. But Ali and Shapur's bus has its loyal regulars, one of whom is Hussein. His job brings him to Tehran regularly, and he and his family have seats reserved in what they call the old bus.
Salam.
Cheaper and more accessible, the bus is closer to being a form of private transport, a sort of shared taxi for its passengers. Each time he takes the bus, Hussein meets other regulars.
اولین باری که پشت اتوبوس نشستم زمان خدمت بود. داخل خدمت بودم، حساب خدمت سربازی که بودم. اینا زنگ زده بودن که خانواده پایگاه تو نیرو هوایی خدمت میکردم. داخل نیرو هوایی خدمت میکردم، تا مجوزی که پشت ماشین سنگین یا اتوبوس بشینم نداشتم. بعد از من خواستن که یه اتوبوس بفرستم خانواده به حساب نظامی ها رو سوار کنه. منتها راننده‌ای نبود، کسی نبود. بعد با فرماندهمون مسئول گروهمون باهاش صحبت کردم، گفتم من استعدادشو دارم، میتونم پشت اتوبوس بشینم. بعد گفت اگر میتونی من سر ته اتوبوس رو جمع کنی، میتونی از آتش برمیای بشین. گفتم باشه.
Soon after setting off, the bus reaches the first mountains which separate the south of the country from the north. These mountains of the Alborz chain formed a sort of natural barrier against war and invasion, protecting Persia for a while from the Mongols in the 12th century and the Uzbeks in the 17th. These mountains are both beautiful and dangerous, and the Iranians admire and fear them in equal measure.
الان جلو ما برفه. اگه دوتا رو با هم کار بندازیم یه موقع برف سنگین میشه، سنگین میاد میشکنه. اما یه دونه با کار کنه سبک کار میکنه، موتورش کوچیکه دوام میاره تا مقصد داره. که برپا کن از کار افتاد نمک چیز پیاز میمالیم که باران با اینه ایسته چروش یخ نزد.
راه بسته میشه، نمیتونه بره. بیا همین چند روز پیش بود که تو برف و یخ داشتیم میرفتیم تا اینکه بادمون در اثر سرما یخ زد و ترمز و بقول معروف بوقمون اینا همه یخ زد. علتش که بود سرمای بیش از حد. یه مقدار دیگه اگه رو برفای میسید گازوئیلمون هم یخ میزد و گازوئیل هم نمی‌کشید، موتورم خاموش میشد و بلافاصله تمام لوله آب و همه چی ماشین یخ میزد.
In the space of a few minutes, the temperature drops dramatically. It's now minus 10 degrees Celsius. The mountains of this part of Iran have their own microclimate. They're situated between the Caspian Sea, which is wet, and the deserts, which are dry. The range of temperatures is one of the most extreme on Earth. Today, the storm doesn't last long. The bus is only blocked for an hour, but it's 1 hour too long for Ali and Shapur. Marco Polo was impressed by the imposing nature of these mountains. In his description of the world, he described Mount Damavand, a sacred peak in Iran, as a high and majestic monument.